Hello and welcome to the Roughneck Minute, a Movies by Minute podcast where we go over the movie Starship Troopers 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Matthew.
And I'm your other host, Johan.
And we're at minute 78. This minute begins with Rico making the jump and ends with Rico in front of his kill. So yeah, this is going to be the full minute of him riding the tanker. This is a great minute.
Yeah. This one is one of the favorites of mine, especially in the theater, because seeing that tanker moving around, it was a little bit of a shaky cam, which was a little bit different at the time. It just made it feel a little bit more intense.
Yeah, it wasn't, this wasn't the whole entire, found footage, movie that you see nowadays where it's just all shaky cam all the time.
Yeah. This one was kind of new-ish, because it was kind of stable at the same time, because the camera stays at the same distance, versus the other shaky cams where the camera's moving along with the character, which makes you induce a little bit of nausea.
Yeah, in this one, it makes it seem like you're actually on the back of the tanker with Rico.
Yeah. Oh, do you know why you get that feeling of nausea whenever you watch that shaky cam, like found footage stuff?
I assume it's because you're still sitting down and your inner ear is telling you that you're still sitting down, but your eyes are telling you something different, so your equilibrium is a little bit off.
Yeah, in a sense, it's because, yes, your equilibrium is off, but if you were running, your brain doesn't register every bounce necessarily, so it cuts it up in a way.
Okay.
So you don't lose, or you just don't get confused and like kind of your equilibrium. So basically you just don't induce vertigo because you keep moving up and down a lot. But when you're watching a camera that's doing that bouncing, it doesn't cut off the stuff that your brain actually does. So you get to watch every bounce.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It kind of just reminds me a little bit of doing VR stuff. I don't know if you've ever done any VR.
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's a bit weird. Like if you don't have it, if you try to do VR with like a low end computer right now, you get like frame rates and everything. You usually need 30 to 60 frames per second. Otherwise, you're gonna get sick because if you're moving your head a certain way and you just see chop, 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 you're gonna start like feeling really sick.
Yeah.
Because again, your equilibrium is getting screwed up. But no, man, VR is pretty cool. I recommend if anyone has capability or knows someone that has VR or has like somewhere near them that has like a VR kind of thing or sees one like at a convention or something like that, try it out. It's really neat.
Is it like the Virtual Boy?
Oh, no, that was completely different. That's when you just sat down and you just played Mario and monochrome
it's
ugliness.
I know. It's a joke because it's a completely different thing. Obviously, Virtual Boy was supposed to be the predecessor of virtual reality, but really it was putting your face up next to a screen really, really close because it did nothing compared to what VR does now.
No, and it was going to give you a headache after like 10 minutes of play.
Well, because of that intense red screen.
I mean, it was like having, like, it's really hard to find them nowadays, but it's like having a vector screen next to your eyes. And if you've ever played like an old arcade cabinet, say like with Tempest or Centipede, those old vector screens, it's really, really bright and intense. Like when we go to a little convention, Johan and I, we go to a convention called SC3. Which is Southern California Classic Collectors, and they bring a bunch of old video games. There'll be a few games there that have vector screens on them, and it's intense, it's gorgeous, but those things are bright.
Yeah. So it wasn't meant to be about like an inch and a half away from your face.
No. Like even I remember a VR thing that I went on like in 95, 96, and it was one of those just like polygon ugly cityscape things. Yeah, it looked like it was a really, really bad version of Reboot, it looked like, honestly. But yeah, Johnny makes his jump, lands right on top of the bug, and starts firing into it. The bug actually sees him jump on him and kind of like, I guess, tries to lean into the jump. The bug does, I suppose? I don't know. But anyway, Rico stands on top of the bug, and he is just riding it, not really riding it, but standing on top of it and firing his weapon into one particular place.
Yeah, which is he has a good idea of what he's going to do with this bug. Considering it has a very thick carapace, you might as well keep shooting at the same exact spot. One thing I noticed in I think it's like 1709, the the eyes of the bug is bisected. Is that the term? Like kind of like a fly. But it has spacing in between, not like a fly does. Because a fly, it looks like it's like a disco ball, like layered on top of itself. It's like it looks like it's a like an LED screen you see at like an EDM concert.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking more of like a mesh that you see on the side of a bus, like so you can see outside of the bus perfectly fine. But if you look from the outside in, it looks like a picture.
Yeah, I was wondering if this is because of the intense amount of heat that it projects with its head.
It may be, yeah. I mean, that may be like a kind of protective vision.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Obviously back then I didn't think about it, but now when I'm, like we've said before, when you analyze it minute by minute, you start to see things. But I'm wondering if that was the case. Like, it would just be too intense to have a flame and try and see what your target is. That there's probably like some sort of like, let's say like a pop filter.
Yeah. I have a theory actually. What if this bug sees like in kind of like an infrared kind of spectrum, kind of like Predator does?
That would be interesting.
Well, because I mean, he's mostly underground all the time, digging the tunnels and everything too. So,
huh? But wouldn't the light be too intense for it?
Well, that's why I'm thinking
and then
the filter and everything would help out a little bit too.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense.
And also, visible light with what he can see right now probably wouldn't affect his UV vision.
Yeah. All right, I can dig that.
Yeah. So this scene itself, where Rico was riding the bug, took about 3 days to shoot. 3 days total of him riding the bug. The bug itself, where you see close-ups of him riding on top of it or standing on top of it, or even, as we'll see later on in this minute, laying down on it and riding it, are basically him riding the back of a basically upside down backside of underside of a hull of a boat, basically.
Oh.
So if you think of, it's basically a back carapace and that's it. And it's attached to a tractor that's moving forward, backwards, and it has hydraulics on it that move up and down and whatnot.
That's still pretty insane because that isn't an easy thing to balance on.
No, and that's the thing too. He had wires and harnesses to keep him up. So if he did fall, he'd only fall 6 feet or so, like off the side. But even still, because it was so hot in South Dakota, they still had to wear, not many clothes, especially up top. So the wires would bite into his skin all the time.
Ugh.
And actually, so at the point where he stops firing, the bug kind of like shakes him off a little bit and he hangs on. And we see him hanging on and falling off, or kind of falling at like 1:17:23, right?
I think so. Don't worry, he grabs it with his hand?
Yes, so he's made a hole in the bug. He's holding on for dear life. The first day of shooting this, not this particular scene that we're seeing right now, but the first time he did this, his weapon was on his side and he cracked his ribs as he fell.
Ooh.
And so he was coughing up blood for about 2 days, but didn't tell anyone but the medic. And the medic basically said, well, there's nothing we can do. I mean, you can't really do anything about cracked ribs.
Yeah, it is true, though.
So he continued to do the shot for 2 more days and decided to put his weapon up near, on his side or to the side of him. Well, every single time he did it, it'd crack him in the face. And he cracked 2 teeth for the rest of the time.
Jesus.
So this was a pretty dangerous stunt for him. Because this is actually him, too. But every time he'd fall, he'd get hurt somehow. So he cracked 2 teeth and cracked a few ribs doing this whole entire scene, which is pretty intense. He's again a badass. I have a lot of respect for Casper during this time.
Damn. Yeah, God, that is awesome to go through that. Especially this is like, well, we've seen it before. A lot of the younger actors tend to be a little bit more gung-ho, especially on their first starring roles.
Yeah.
But this is pretty intense.
Yeah, it really is. I do also really like the CG version of Casper when it does wide shots of the bug,
Yeah.
and he's just running around trying to get Casper off of him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rico off of him. I only see Casper when the sense that we're actually talking about the actor Casper, but this is Rico. We're talking about Rico.
Yeah. So, I think I briefly mentioned it on the last minute, but
I forgot about this.
This was the toy I got with the little magnetic Rico that you put on the bug, so you can kind of spin the bug around, and the little Rico had a magnet on it, so it stays on the bug just like the scene does.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
I have a question then. I'll leave this up to you. When we release this episode, there always is like a little picture that I put up to go with the episode. We can either do the picture of the actual toy that you had, because I can definitely find that pretty easily.
Yeah.
Or we can do the epic picture at the or the epic screen at the very end of this minute, which is Rico standing in front of the exploded bug.
Oh, that's tough.
I could do actually a side by side. That's not really hard. Yeah. Because the toy is super neat. I mean...
Yeah, the tanker bug actually had really good detail on it, and it looked really rad.
How was the articulation on it?
It wasn't that great.
Okay.
It was pretty stiff.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty stiff toy. The legs moved kind of like left to right, but didn't bend that well at the knees. I can't remember if it did. So
I don't even. Yeah, it doesn't even look like it would bend at the knees. Yes. Honestly.
So like realistically, you just kind of put it somewhere, and you have Rico magnetized sticking on top of it.
Yeah, and the kids who played with it in the commercials, there weren't really any commercials for these toys, but like what I'm talking about with like G.I. Joe figures or any other kind of toy figures, all these kids would be having like crazy amounts of fun with these toys. Going up hills, going into water. Messing around, doing like crazy stunts with the toys, but when you got it, like nothing was that cool.
No, never was.
Yeah,
except for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what? You can make them go down zip lines.
I had the blimp, and that thing was amazing.
God dang it!
I really wanted to fill it up with helium, and I was trying to see if I could do something with like an RC car to make it move with helium, because I figured, if I put an RC car at the bottom of it, I can control it, kind of.
Yeah.
No, but my dad never would give me the helium or let me tape the RC car to the bottom of the blimp. Eventually, the blimp itself broke, like because it was like a beach ball kind of fabric, or material up top. But because it was a two-parter thing where they could detach from the blimp and it become a glider, I just used it as a glider all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you wanted it for, was just a glider.
Nah, man, the blimp was awesome.
No, I know, but you always used the glider, though. Like, that was like the best part, because you can kind of, go flying in.
I suppose. But I don't know. I've always been fascinated by blimps and zeppelins and everything, so that toy just really got to me.
See, I never got the any of the vehicles for for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I always had the figurines, so I had quite a few.
There were a ton. Like, there were a ton of variants. I remember I had a breakdancing one from, I think, one of the movies. Like, you put it on its back and he'd spin around.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there were tons of toys, like the samurai ones from the third movie.
Yeah. You never got that one.
I liked it. I like all the Turtles movies no matter what.
Yeah.
Just because I love how in the third movie, those other samurai dudes come back to New York and Casey Jones is teaching them all about hockey. So you just see them like walking around in their very, very stereotypical Japanese voices going, hockey, hockey, hockey. It's very, tone deaf for nowadays. But I was like, oh, they like hockey too. That's awesome.
Well, I don't know. The third one never rang too well for me. I mean, the second one was good with Tokan Razor, but I don't know. The third one was just like,
I mean, they're no Bebop and Rocksteady. Let's put that out there. But...
Yeah, when I was a kid, I thought it was weird that they like Tokan Razor were cool, but I just didn't understand why there wasn't Bebop and Rocksteady. And I'm pretty sure to a kid it was just mind-boggling, like, why not? But if you were in the executive board, you're like, we need to push these new toys. We can't always have the same ones.
Exactly.
So,
well, I mean, they could have done like a McFarlane Toys kind of updated version of Bebop and Rocksteady, and it would have worked fine. But no, let's make new toys.
No, they made a couple updated versions of Bebop and Rocksteady. Well, they had different outfits.
For the movie itself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
like, I know they made different versions of them and everything, yeah.
Yeah, but that one has a hat. I want it.
Oh, that's a good episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was watching an episode last night, and I just laughed at it so much because it's the episode where Bart gets lost while going to the box factory. Do you remember this one?
Going to the box factory or getting out of the box factory?
So he's getting out of the box factory.
Yeah, and he puts his hat on the box, and they're like, "Oh, Bart was turned into a box."
Yeah, so
hey, my lucky hat.
Yeah, in the episode, he gets lost, and Edna, Mrs. Krabappel, has to call the parents. She calls Marge. She's at home and she's showering, so she's running down the stairs. Don't hang up! Don't hang up! And the line goes dead. And she's like, "Oh well, I missed it." And then they call Homer. He's at the plant. The phone's ringing as well, but he keeps running. He runs in as well too, wearing a towel. So he just got out of the shower from the plant. And he's like, "Yellow." He's like, "Oh, you have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I remember that joke.
So I heard that just last night, and I'm like, I need to use that.
That is
speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Oh my god, that is a funny one. I forgot about that joke.
That's the thing too. They would just have like little throwaway jokes like that, like every episode, maybe like one every 5 minutes, and it would hit every single time.
I know.
That show, man, was in its prime something.
Yeah, just the throwaway jokes that they had that just led to nothing was amazing.
Nothing. It was great. Like... another one that reminds me, this is not going to become the Simpsons Minute, God help us if it does, but is, just the throwaway of when Homer is accused of sexual harassment.
Oh, the Gummy DeMilo.
The Gummy DeMilo, yeah. And just the whole entire beginning scene of him trying to escape from the candy convention, throwing the Pop Rocks in the Buzz Cola, and then doing the slow-mo, jumping out scene.
Yeah.
And then the whole entire hardline interview where he's all edited and everything.
Yeah, and don't edit this to make it sound like...
Yeah, sweet candy.
Yeah, you see the clock in the backward changing time.
It's just changing. And then there's visible scan lines.
Yeah. No, Mr. Simpson, back away.
No. Events in this interview may not happened.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch those episodes again. A lot of old episodes.
I know.
I mean, I tried watching something last night because I do have stuff on FSX. But it's all new stuff.
Yeah.
And it's all bad. They were doing Homer and Marge were young again episode last night.
Ugh.
As well. But it was a new one. And I'm like, I don't remember Marge going to, a summer camp where she was doing prep school and everything. And Homer was the bus boy. Oh, this is a new episode.
Yeah, I saw some of those episodes. They're definitely not as good.
No, they're really not. I mean, it's been said to death, but The Simpsons did die in the 8th season.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rico, he basically is down on the spug, but he's holding on to the newly formed hole that he made. He goes down to his utility bat belt.
Yeah.
I say that just because, I mean, Adam West and the Batman movie and everything back then kind of brought me up on utility belts and, utility equipment on utility belts. So I'm assuming Rico is pulling up his Bug Be Gone bomb.
Did you ever try to create your own utility belt? Because I did.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I took a turn from 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 Hook, where the little girl made her dad, or Robin Williams, a parachute, and I tried to make a parachute out of a backpack. And I was too chicken shit to try to make that work, but I would run around the yard with that thing out there pretending I was like a dragster or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that and a utility belt, I totally made that kind of stuff all the time. What'd you have on your utility belt?
Let's see here. I had a lighter.
Okay.
I had paper and a pencil. Had a stick.
Of course, you gotta have that stick.
Yeah, and I had string because you can turn the stick into a bow when you need to.
Okay.
And I think I had rubber bands.
See, I had a little more. It was. I think this utility belt was at my dad's house because my mom wouldn't allow me most of the stuff that I had on there. But I had a Swiss Army knife that was a really, really small one. But it was still, the blade itself was about 1 inch long.
Ooh, rebel.
And I had a stick as well. Some nylon rope, the little kind of like, what is it, the laundry line kind?
Oh, okay. We had, the one I had was like twine. So It wasn't even that good.
Oh, it was like the kind of stuff that you would wrap up like old packages with?
Yeah.
Like that really, really loose spun twine.
Yeah, and it's like fraying everywhere because it's made out of like... I don't know what it's made out of, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And then I had caps, the kind that you would put into a little revolver toy.
Oh,
The ones that would go on that roll that you would put into a revolver that whenever you clicked the trigger or you pull the trigger, the caps itself would feed into it, and it would, you could continuously pull the trigger and it would go pop, 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 but you'd feed the caps into it.
Yeah.
And then this little bomb toy, those die cast, not a die cast, but those all metal little bombs where you put a cap in the middle of it, you throw it up and it falls down and goes pop.
Yeah.
Yep, I had one of those, and that was my grenade.
Ooh.
And I'd put like 2 or 3 caps in there, so only like a few of them would go off at the time. But you put 2 or 3 in there, and it would make a bigger cap.
Ooh. See, I never had the revolver to go with the caps, but you could buy the caps. So I used to put the caps between 2 stones and then jump on it.
Yeah.
So.
That was always cool, man.
Yeah, because it would pop all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did.
But yeah, Rico throws in his bug bomb, and as soon as he does it, pretty much he decides that he's done. I also like how, when he flips the switch on it, it makes that kind of whirring up noise, that dee 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 dee. And then once he gets, he throws it in there, it splooshes in the bug's wound, which I really like.
Yeah, which is kind of a horrid way to go if you're a bug.
We're learning again that the bugs aren't very smart, except for maybe the brain bug. So who knows if this bug feels anything?
True.
He just knows some little small thing is on his back and he wants it off.
Yeah.
But Rico lets go, and as soon as he lets go, the tanker hits a berm and launches Rico. So, man, I mean, did you ever launch yourself off of stuff when you were little?
Off stuff? Huh.
Yeah, so...
Like swings?
I mean, did you ever, try any, crazy stunts when you were little? I mean, we're talking about, utility belts when we were little. Did you ever used to, fall off stuff or jump down stuff or anything like that?
Yeah, swings, Everybody does that. Go to high speed,
yeah.
Launch yourself, or go as high as you can, and then let go.
Yeah, stuff like that. Did you ever, because, I used to do it. We had this hill in the back of of this one house when I was, maybe preteen. And they had these thick bushes where if you pushed them down hard enough, they would stay there, but they would still have some give on them. So you'd run down the hill, jump on these bushes, and they'd give a little bit, but then you'd bounce back up.
Oh, rad.
And you could, yeah, and you could because it was a steep hill, kind of maybe I want to say 25 to 30 degree angle. And you would be able to get some really sick air.
That's so rad.
Yeah, you get hurt, of course, but I mean, you'd fall down like in another bush or something like that. But these, I mean, yeah, did you ever do that kind of stuff?
Well, well, I wouldn't say it was the worst thing, but it definitely was along the lines of one of the dumbest things I did. Uh, um, I used to live in a 3-story apartment.
Okay.
We were on the second and third floor. The second floor was connected to the third floor. So from the third floor, I got onto the awning of the second floor.
I know exactly what you did.
And so there's this hill that was facing the staircase, and it was like maybe 10 feet from the bottom floor to the base of the hill. So it's like I have absolutely no idea what the distance was, but I did a running start from the awning of the second floor, jumped off tile. Like God, I probably could have hurt myself so bad had I thought about this. Probably should not have done this. Jumped, landed on the hill, and just thought like I am like Rico.
Oh,
And I do have a friend that could verify everything I did, because he actually challenged me. He's like, I think I can reach it. And I was like, oh really? And then I ran and jumped it. And I was like, I made it. You gonna go? He's like, no.
yeah, they'd always like wimp out like when you did stuff like that too. Like, oh no, that looks kind of scary. I'm not gonna. They wouldn't say scary, but they're like, no, you did it, man. You're so stupid for doing it. Whatever.
No,
Like you could really get hurt and kill yourself. Oh, you're dumb.
well, he didn't call me stupid, but I think he was trying to gather up the courage. But then I did it, and then he was just like, oh, well, I guess it doesn't
Yeah,
need to be done anymore.
You and I had two like different kind of friends. We'd egg each other on and be like, once it was done, we were like, no, that doesn't look safe at all.
Yeah.
That was kind of dumb.
Oh no, this was totally not safe at all.
No, and like that's the thing too. I was thinking about it right now. If we were like, even nowadays, I'd still love like behind me right now. There's a huge hill that goes down into the riverbank, and I'd absolutely love to like jump down that thing or like run down it or like roll down it. But because I know I'm old and my joints would like give out and I would get hurt, I wouldn't want to do it. But if I had like my spry young 14, 15-year-old joints, I'd totally do it, man.
Or at least even with the what's it called, a like piece of cardboard or something.
Dude, yeah.
Like ride down it
That'd be
with a piece of
awesome.
cardboard.
Oh yeah. That'd be amazing. But yeah, so Rico, gets knocked off. He falls down. I love the fall down too because you can easily see that he's falling down on a mat that's kind of hidden by dirt.
Yeah.
Because he sinks into it a little bit. He hides behind a warrior's carapace, a dead warrior's carapace, and just waits for the bomb to go off. And you see it right there. The music crescendos, and then kaboom!
Yeah, I like the way he kind of looks very cool about what he just did, though.
Yeah, as he's standing up.
No, even as like all the bug juice is landing on him,
Mm-hmm.
he's not like, he doesn't flinch at the explosion at all.
No, he just kind of closes his eye. Not even closes his eyes. He just like banks his head a little bit so it doesn't get into his face.
Yeah, and he's just like, he stands up like, all right, let's look at the carnage I just did.
Oh, I love it. And that's the part where like he looks at the explosion, but then he doesn't look at the aftermath very much. He looks at it, stands up, slings his rifle, and then walks towards the camera, showing us exactly what he's done.
Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of a view of like what might be like, well, it looks like a liver or something.
Oh, there's something in there. Yeah, I mean,
Could be a heart because of the size of the bug. It's like kind of got like a creamy appearance to it.
and it looks so much better in in high def as well too. Because I remember seeing this in the theaters, it didn't look too good.
No.
But when you have the nice 1080 high definition, it looks really really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you could definitely tell most of this is CG. Like I'm parked here at exactly the end of this minute, which is 1 hour 18 minutes, and you can definitely tell Rico's real. But the carapace of the bug, the blood on the back of it, the way it's cracked, like up in its upper thorax a little bit.
Yeah.
That's all CG. It definitely looks not real.
But
even still, man,
the way the blown apart carapace looks is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of wavering a bit, like as the bug is settling, you see it's like kind of shifting with the movement of the rest of the bug, which is really cool.
It's super cool. And little me too, because I was thinking, well, it was throwing napalm and everything out. Why didn't it explode bigger? I mean, you would think it would. But I thought about it when I got older, and especially now too, that it probably has kind of like a rocket has two different chambers for the two accelerants that make that napalm. So when they don't interact in its body, they only interact when it's coming out of its body.
Yeah, but I don't think it's napalm. I think it's just a high explosive.
Well, it's like a acidic high explosive.
Maybe. I just think because where he dropped the bomb, because it's I don't know, maybe it's just because of the compressed amount of air that's in there, like just because of the chemical reaction, that's what created the biggest part of the explosion. I don't think it was the grenade itself that created that explosion. It's just that the chain reaction, it needed to go somewhere.
Well, think about this as well too. Later on in the minutes, once we get to them, there's a similar explosion that's coming up to the head of one of these, and it's about the same size as well too, but it's not the same area of the body. So same explosion, different part of the body. So I still think it's the HE grenade that he has.
See, that's what I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I know the other explosion that you're talking about, but the reason why I don't think it's it's only centered because of or was it napalm because of the head, but because the head could separate a lot easier.
Okay.
Whereas this one, it's stuck within the carapace. And since it was a little bit tougher for that the explosion to go somewhere else, that's what created a bigger explosion. Whereas the other one, it's just going to go outward real fast.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, I mean, both of these are confined spaces, and whenever you have an explosion in a confined space, the exploding gases are going to try to find their way out. And in both of these areas, there really wasn't anywhere for it to go out, so it blew the things open.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that's just what I think. Where I think it differs from the later tanker.
Yeah. Okay. Well, really, that's where that minute ends, man. I mean, this is a great minute.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it just because it has this awesome scene where the tanker explodes.
Yeah. Well, it's the first big kill for Rico.
Yes, it is. It's his trophy. I mean, he could, just like Sugar has his, I mean, he could take a part of it and hang it around his neck like a weirdo.
Yeah, but what do you take from something this size?
Honestly, I'd probably take one of the sparkers up top.
But that's big though. I mean, I understand it'd be cool, but you'd use it as like a shoulder pad to an elbow pad or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, like an arm shield or a buckler.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's gonna be doing the whole entire, pulling off the top of the head a la Aliens versus Predator, and then using it as a shield or anything.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool, but whatever.
Yeah, that's why I don't think there's much of like a trophy you can get from something this big.
Nah, I don't know. As I said, I tell you what I do. I do the freaking, sparkers.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
It'd be awesome, but you can't do like Sugar does where he wears it into battle. It's something you just keep like in your locker or something like that.
Still, I mean, that'd be kind of cool just to have.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. That would be so cool to have.
Well, is there anything else you wanted to talk about this particular minute?
No, I think I'm all right.
All right. Well, where can they find you, Mr. Johan?
You guys can find me on Twitch and Instagram at JDASHD26. You can find me on Twitter at OMG It's Johan.
And you guys can find me at AltTabMatt pretty much anywhere on the internet, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. If you look on Instagram recently, you'll probably see a few pictures of me and my son at his birthday party, because it was this last Saturday. He is 2 now. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He had a Cars-themed birthday party, because
Aw.
he absolutely loves Cars. The first and third one, not the second one.
Second one isn't that good, though.
Second one, that's the thing. He's watched it once, didn't pay attention to it because he doesn't like Mater. He likes Lightning. And if he was here right now, I'd say Lightning, and he'd say Lightning. He loves Lightning McQueen, man.
That's why I didn't like the second one. It had nothing to do with Lightning McQueen. It was a Mater movie.
It was a Mater movie, but it had Lightning as a secondary character. Like, it was a secondary story about Lightning doing the Grand Prix, while it was mostly Mater, taking down this multi-million-dollar company from destroying other cars.
Yeah. So,
You guys can follow the show at The Roughneck Min on Twitter, MIN. You can go to our website, theroughneckminute.podbean.com, for any past episodes with show notes. You can also go to our Facebook group, The Roughneck Minute Billet, Billet, to continue the conversation and tell us about your utility belts or the dumb crap that you did when you were a kid jumping off of stuff. Please, I want to know. I want to know that I wasn't, or Johan and I weren't just like crazy kids trying to kill ourselves. And also, guys, please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or any other podcast you guys use. We really appreciate any feedback we get at all. And thank you guys for those of you who have already done it. But I've been one of your hosts, Matthew.
and I've been your other host, Johan.
We will see you on the bounce, troopers.